Hey guys, welcome to another video. In this video, I want to talk about some of the biggest losses that I had. I want to share a
Both of
couple of
us, yeah.
stories, both of us, and
Yeah.
Ali also is going to share on that. The people who are trading with Bearable Traders for a couple of years, I think this one goes back to 2017. There was a company, I think it's still public, Yelp, and this company had an earning, really bad earning. I mean, it was a company that was dying, it was gapping down a lot.
I had
And
no idea Yelp is actually public. Yeah, it is
it's
public.
yeah, it still is
Wow.
public too. So it was gapping up, it was gapping down for bad news, and then it popped up, and I shorted that for I think it was opening range breakdown. I kind of shorted that, but it kind of squeezed above the VWAP, and it continued went up and up and up, and I just kept adding, and I kept adding, and I kept adding. Eventually, I was like up. I think the price was around $20, and eventually I added something about 6,000 shares on that, which was a big size for me in that time. And it was just kept going up. And again, when I'm trading in the community, I put my screen trading live in there, and it was just keep going higher and higher. And everybody was watching, and everybody was saying, "Oh, Andrew, what happened to you? What happened to you?" And I just kept adding on that until I really ran out of the buying power. And that turned out to be one of the biggest losses that I had in that time, $7,000
When
loss.
was that?
I think it was 2017. I think it was 17. It
Yeah,
was
so
about
I,
six
I have
hours
the
ago.
chart up, so somewhere around here, huh?
Yeah, 2017, I think it was around that area that gap down. Yeah, so that's the monthly chart. Yeah,
Yeah.
it was trading exactly around $20. And the lesson for me was, not getting stopped out. Obviously my strategy for opening range breakouts were always the same. When the stock is breaking down, you go short, and if you squeeze back up above the VWAP, you get a stopped out. But I just didn't get a stopped out on that. And and just another mistake is you keep adding and adding to average down. And most of the times when you're adding, to your losing position, it kind of works. You can get out of it. But that one single time that you cannot get out of it, can be very devastating. And
Yeah.
that's exactly what happened to me.
With indexes, you can add. If it's like a market index, like a SPY, you would assume.
Yeah, that's what I did
eventually-
on TNA, and
Yeah.
here's another problem that I did. So, and I think I was actually going to ask you, but I'm mentioning that last year my $2 million loss on TNA was the same concept I did. And okay, TNA is 2,000 companies, although it's a leverage product, but it's going to be 2,000 companies, and eventually it's going to come back. I'm going to sit down on it for 2 years, and as the market start going down, I didn't see that a 35% drop in the market that is not going to bounce back.
Yeah.
And I don't see really IWM or even QQQ to bounce back. So I did the same mistake, and exactly Ali had that thought. You were trading with me on that time. And I thought, these are 2,000 companies. There's no way that it's going to come down. And it turned out to be really, yes, 2,000 companies can go down and you can
not recover. I mean, our memory of bear market was the 2020, and we haven't seen a bear market in our professional trading careers, right? So because since 2010 it was a bull run.
Exactly.
So and the only bear market we experienced in 2020, the bounce was so fast. You would think, oh, you could average down and then it would just bounce back.
Yeah, that was essentially the mother of all V-shaped recoveries that you had.
Yeah.
I, essentially become a trader on an all-time high.
Yeah.
Pretty much every year was all-time high, and I'm just too young to see the market can go down for years, or it might not go up for years, just to stay in the choppy environment. When I had that conversation with Peter said that, you're too young. We remember the time that the market was going down for years, and the market was not making all-time high all the time. Back in dot-com bubble and the 2008 financial crisis.
We talked about like from 2002. If you bought SPY or any other indexes at the peak of the bubble in 2002, you would basically recover right around 2008, but then the market would crash again, and then you would get back to break even at 2011.
Yeah.
So it would take 10 years for you to get your money back, which is crazy.
Yeah, that's a very interesting part,
Yeah.
and that's exactly the business cycles too.
Yeah.
So when you look at it, the business cycles were exactly like that. You go up, it's too much, it's dot-com bubble, everybody's becoming rich, you have to bring it down, and then you go into the bull market of the real estate, and then you have to, again, everybody becomes a real estate guru and realtor, and then you have to bring it down. And now we are in the same situation. But But the thing is, I've read in Bloomberg that from one of their opinion is that the inflation actually causes these business cycles to be a little bit shortened. So you can get the price. That's why we want to get business cycles in a matter of 1 or 2 years, but usually in 5 to 10 years.
Yeah.
That was my biggest loss. The TNA loss in 2022, which actually made me really humbled. And I realized that no matter how good of a trader you are, if you just think that you outsmart the market and the overall forces in the market, then you really get a slap in the face. And the Yelp which essentially was the same thing, adding into your losing position. That was also one of my biggest losses. What was yours, Adi?
One of my biggest losses was Adobe. I think it was after earning, sold some puts, but which is basically where I want to take the biggest losses. But what's the learning from them? Adobe, I was very confident. I had a really good run. It was right around September, so this candlestick right here, it was an earning, and then the news came out that they bought Figma. And they overpaid for Figma, so they gapped down. And I sold lots of puts on them. This was the time that I was making a lot of money. This is a stretch of time, this past few times, and I was taking massive sizes. And when this happened, and with options, you can't really exit
The
pre-market or after hours, right? You have to wait till the market opens. So the loss was huge, right? So once the stock gaps down 10-15%, you can't even mitigate it, right? You can't delta hedge. There's not much mitigation you could do. You could either wait and sit on tons of Adobe share, or you take the loss. And I've learned that sitting on single names is a very dangerous name. So I took the loss. My learning was manage your size. People really always tell you, oh, if you can make $500 in the market, you can make $1,000. I kind of disagree with it because your psychology changes.
Yeah.
That was back then. I was making $2-3 grand a week, and I wanted to make 10 grand a week. But I didn't realize that it's not as simple as instead of taking 5 contracts, now take 10 contracts, and you can make 10,000 a week. Your psychology completely changes.
I think that's this is a good one, but up to a point. They say that show me. I actually say that show me you can make $5 a day. I'll show you how to make $500. But up to a point, you can't really make. Just extrapolate this linearly. It's really getting the psychology is getting a little bit in
different. Yeah.
And it doesn't matter. When you're trading and you see every tick up and down, it's gonna be $1,000 up and down for you. Doesn't matter how much your account is. Still, $1,000 is a very significant number, and that starts really impacting your decision making.
Yeah.
So I think the biggest losses that I have at the end of the day, if I want to summarize that, is number one, not getting stopped out. Number two is adding to your losing position. And the losing position is a position that has passed your stop loss, your original stop loss. It means that your original idea has gone out. Sometimes, you go into a position and then you add it a little bit later on that. And that's the difference between adding to a losing position and scaling into the position. When you're scaling into the position, you are not violating your main stop loss. You are actually still in that range. Your original trade idea is in place. But when the original idea completely gets scratched, and then you become hopeful, and it becomes wishful thinking that maybe it reverses or maybe it does the opposite, then that's really essentially when the gambling starts. And another thing is that I mixed up day trading and swing trading and the kind of investing in my TNA position, and I said, okay, I'm gonna go into TNA position, and I said, okay, it's gonna go bounce. I made it a swing trade. Instead, I'm gonna wait a little bit, and then it just continued going down. And I said, okay, I'm gonna become an investor. I'm gonna leave it for 2 years in my account. Maybe it bounces and maybe it does bounces. So I kind of mixed up the whole spectrum of trading and investing. And I paid the price for that. And this is in addition to the size that you mentioned. This TNA and TQQ, these are all leverage position. So you are actually dealing with the element of leverage and over exposure to the market. That's also in there. So as you see, the mastermind, the master plan of all of the mistakes in one single trade that I did.
Yeah, exactly. Well, hopefully our viewers will take the
Yeah.
lessons and not do the mistakes.
Yeah, you're gonna eventually do that mistake one way or another to learn that. Some of the biggest lessons in life is usually coming very expensive. But I hope that you learn from that and be ready for that and at least manage your risk when you're doing trading.
Yeah.
Thank you. If you like that, guys, feel free to comment and
Tell us your
Tell us-
biggest loss.
So that's your biggest loss,
Yeah.
yeah, and what you learned from that,
Yeah.
and that's a very nice actually title for the video. The biggest loss that we had and the lessons that we learned from it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
Right, thank
till
you. So
next time.
Adi taught me this year a little bit of options trading, and now I'm selling a lot of puts. See how this one was going to turn out. I actually have a lot of exposure to Tesla and Amazon right now. See how it's going to do.
Yeah,
They're
well-
doing really well right now.
Tesla got an earning tomorrow, so that will be interesting. Anyway,
Awesome.
yeah.
Thank
I'll
you
see
so much, guys. Tell us what you think. Cheers.